Hello Year 3 and welcome to Lesson 2 of Geography Week. We are looking at physical and human features of forests. And our learning objectives are to understand and describe physical features of forests, to explain how humans use forests as settlements. Okay, what I want you to do first is pause the video, write down the date, underline the date with a pencil and a ruler, and then our LO is to understand and describe physical features of forests. Full stop, underline, pencil and ruler. Then once you've done that, neatly and carefully, with good handwriting and good spelling, then we can unpause the video and see what we're doing today. And we'll have a look at that in 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's have a look at our vocabulary. Some of this we covered yesterday, but I'll just go over it again. So deciduous, that's the type of tree that loses its leaves depending on what season it is. It loses its leaves every year. So usually in the summer when it's hot, the leaves are on the trees, it's lovely. But when it's winter, it loses its leaves and it has to wait for the next season before it starts getting leaves back again. Okay, woodland. Woodland is land covered with trees, like a forest. Habitat, that's where something lives, home of living things. Physical, these are features such as mountains, rivers, lakes, and anything natural you can find on the land. Human, geography, was how people use the environment and their habitat to live. And settlement is a place where people start to live in a group or community. Excellent. You got it? You can always come back to it if you can't remember, but that's great. Let's move on. Recap then. Let's have a look at this. We're going to have to copy this down into our books, but obviously not with the lines there like that, because we need to fill in the gaps with these red words from our word bank here. And once you've done that, remember that there's times 2 by Robin Hood there, which means that you can use Robin Hood twice in these gaps. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause the video now. You can fill that in into your books and then unpause when you're ready to check your answers. We'll check the answers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's talk through this. So Sherwood Forest is a temperate deciduous forest in Nottinghamshire, which is in the middle of England. Historians believe it was home to Robin Hood and his merry men. A large oak tree, which is believed to be 1,000 years old, still stands to this day. The legendary forest is smaller than it used to be, and rather than a habitat to foresters and outlaws, it's a popular place to visit today for people interested in the legend of Robin Hood. Cool. So the forest lives then. There are many different things that live in the forest, and thousands of years ago, most of our country was covered in this forest, in this woodland. So it's home to thousands of species of plants and animals. And let's have a look at one of them here. There's a picture. It says moss and ferns grow on several different types of trees, including oak trees, of which we know that there are still about 1,000 of those in Sherwood Forest today. And moss and ferns grow on these trees especially well in damp, shady places. And they have very shallow roots, which means they're not very deep. Okay. Now let's have a look here. We've got lots of information about the different plants, the different birds, the different insects, and the different animals that live in the forest. I want you to pause for a second and read through each one of these sections, and then unpause when you're ready. 3, 2, 1. Okay, did you spot this word here in animals? It says mammals. What do you think mammals are? I would like you to write a definition in your book saying what mammals are. And then unpause the video when you're ready to check your definition with the definition here. Okay, we'll have a look at the definition of mammals in 3, 2, 1. Okay, a mammal is an animal that breathes air, has a backbone, and grows hair at some point during its life. In addition, all female mammals have glands that produce milk. Mammals include a wide variety of animals, from cats to humans to whales, and there are more than 5,000 different kinds of mammal. Cool. Right, let's look at the physical features of forests then. We've looked at the things that live there, but now what about the things as well as that. So we've got lists here. What I want you to do is put a table into your book, now that I've decided, and I would like you to put the word plants at the top of one bit, animals into the next bit, and then insects on the other side. And we have a load of words here that belong in each part of the table. Okay, so pause the video now and then put these words into the correct part of the table into your book. Take your time with it, make it nice and neat, and then move on when you're ready. We'll move on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is that we're going to come up with some ideas about how we can live in the forest and make it our home, how we can survive. So I've got you off to a start here with the physical features. I put number 1, we can build a fire with bark from the trees, or flint. Number 2, we can use the plants and berries to make a healthy snack or use as medicines if we get sick. And number 3, we can use to get a good night's sleep. I leave that one up to you. Once you've filled in the gap with that one and copied these out, then you need to come up with 3 more ideas of how we can use the forest as our home. Okay? Remember those physical features that we have in the forest. Once you've done that, what I've done here is I've drawn my camp and the things that I might need. So I've put that I would sleep underneath a big oak tree on a bed of leaves just there, and I'd have my sword nearby and a campfire nearby as well. So just take a moment to do that, come up with your 6 ideas about living in the forest, and then we can draw our camp afterwards. Unpause when you're ready. 3, 2, 1. Okay, the threats to forests and woodland is a lot different now to what it was like back when Robin Hood was around. Today, a lot of the trees have gone. And because of that, there's been a 20% fall in the amount of woodland birds, and other species have seen the same reductions as well, the same amount of deaths, and there's a small amount of them now. And why is that, you say? Well, areas of forest have been dug up and replanted with trees that aren't temperate deciduous. They're not native to the UK. So you might find different types of trees. And this is done simply so that we can make paper and use it for our own good, the human geography here. So trees not native to the UK also sometimes have diseases, and it spreads to our native trees, which kills them. Also, we develop a lot of land around here. There's lots of houses, lots of roads and buildings, and a lot of these trees have to be destroyed in order to make space for these new pieces of land that we build. Okay, our challenge then is that we're escaping from the sheriff. We have just escaped from the castle, and arrows are being fired from the crossbows of the sheriff's men, but we managed to disappear into the safety of the trees. However, you are not Robin Hood. Only Robin knows his way around Sherwood Forest. So you must learn to survive, or how to survive, in the forest. So we're going to learn how to do that using the physical features of the forest. And then we're going to present a guide of how to survive through making a poster at the end of this all with our best drawings of what the forest is like. Okay, we're going to have to look at some tips though. The Tip 1 is to keep in touch if you're in a group with others. And sometimes the best way to do this is to come up with a code word or a call like a bird. A lot of people would make a whistle with their hands like that. And then if there was anyone else that they were with, then that would be their key to tell them where they were in the forest. If they used their voices and went, "Oi, Dave," then people would know it was a person. And then they could get caught if they were on the run. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make a mind map. And in the middle of it, you can either put tips or surviving the forest, okay? And our first one is going to be keep in touch with others. So make a copy of that now. Once you've done that, we'll move on to tip 2. Tip 2 is always know where you are, and there are some funny shaped trees in the forest. Do you remember the major oak from earlier? It was huge. So you could think, well, I'm only just round the corner from the major oak. Well, you've got to use that to know where you are. So tip 2, always know where you are. Write that down on your mind map. Let's have a look at tip 3. Tip 3 is know how to find water quickly. Okay, so to do that, we can usually look, if there are mountains nearby, if there's mountainous areas, there's usually water at the bottom of those sometimes. Also, have a look to see how green the leaves are, because the greener they are, probably the more water they get. Tip 3 then, know how to find water quickly. Write that down. Tip 4, making a fire. Let's have a look at this video. There we are. So here's a man making a fire. He's got a few different tools here, and it's a lot more difficult back then to make than it was now. We'll just wait for the first sparks. And he's got some flint, some hay, and it takes a lot of effort. Look, but there we are. He's starting to make it. Okay, so the next part, and this is quite important to keep warm in the forest. In the forest though, only. And you've got to do it really carefully. Start a fire with flint and a blade. Pause the video now. Get that down as tip 4. Tip 5. Okay, building a shelter. Now it's really important that we make sure that we build the shelter in the right place. So as well as that, you've got to think about where you're going to sleep. So you remember to build a bed, because if you lie directly on the ground, your body temperature may be lowered to a dangerous level. You need a bed, and you need to be near a river and also some cover in the trees so that you can hide from different people maybe. Okay, so next, building a shelter. Write that down. Tip 6, finding food. Okay, so it's really important that we're in a place where we can find food like berries, like walnuts or nettles, which can be eaten. Be wary of poisonous stuff though, because never eat white berries, mushrooms or anything like that. And the rule is, if birds are eating it, it's probably safe from you. Also, if you're near a stream, you might be able to fish as well and then cook it on the fire like we can see in the picture. So tip 6, finding food. Get that down into your mind map, and then once you've done that, you should have a mind map that looks like mine. What are we going to do with it though? We're going to create a poster with the 6 survival tips to help you survive in the forest. So this is a great chance to do some great drawings and then give people advice on how you're supposed to live as a forester, as Robin Hood would have done. Okay, remember to include all of the physical features like the lakes and the trees and everything like that, and the human features of the forest that we talked about earlier. Okay, use your mind map to help you. So have a go at that, and that is our last task of the lesson. Join in tomorrow for more Geography Week.